I was sitting in my therapist's office on December 14th, staring at a $15,000 Rolex charge notification on my phone when I realized my wife had been using my PTSD appointments as her weekly affair window, and that watch, it was supposed to be a mine for 20 years of service. If you got about 30 minutes and maybe something to drink, settle in. Because this story, my story, it's not quick and it's not pretty, but it's real and it's mine, and maybe, if you've ever trusted someone who didn't deserve it, you'll understand why I had to do what I did. Here's what you need to know up front. I spent 20 years in the Marines. 2 deployments, more firefights than I care to count. Came home with PTSD that I've been managing ever since. I met Amanda at a veterans charity gala 10 years ago. She was beautiful, successful, and she said all the right things about understanding what I'd been through. We got married 2 years later. For 8 years, I thought we were solid. I thought she was my reward for surviving everything the Corps threw at me. I was wrong. This is the story of how my wife spent $63,000 of our money on an affair with her boss, how she gave him the watch I'd been denied for my military service, and how I used every skill the Marines taught me to make sure they both lost everything. It's also the story of how revenge, even when it's justified, can cost you pieces of yourself you didn't know you could lose. But I'm getting ahead of myself. Let me start at the beginning, back when I still believed in happy endings. My retirement ceremony from the Marines was in July 2019. 20 years of service, honorable discharge, the whole 9 yards. Amanda stood next to me in a blue dress, smiling for photos with my command. I remember thinking that day that I'd made it, survived combat, survived the transition home, found a woman who got it. My mom pulled me aside after the ceremony and said, "Christopher, you did good. Your father would be proud." Dad had been Army Vietnam era. He understood the weight. The transition to civilian life was rougher than I expected. The VA hired me as a counselor, helping other veterans navigate PTSD benefits, the whole clusterfuck of coming home. It felt right, like I was still serving, just in a different way. Amanda's career was taking off around the same time. She'd worked her way up to senior event planner at Morrison & Associates, one of those high-end firms that does corporate galas and product launches for tech companies. She was good at it, charming, organized, knew how to make rich people feel special. Those first couple years, we had a rhythm. I'd come home from the VA. She'd be reviewing event proposals at the kitchen table. We'd make dinner together, watch TV, go to bed. Normal, safe, or so I thought. It was January of 2023 when I first showed her the watch. My 20-year service anniversary was coming up, and I'd been eyeing this Tag Heuer Carrera for months. Sleek, classic, the kind of watch a man wears when he's earned it. I pulled it up on my phone at breakfast one Saturday. "What do you think?" I asked, turning the screen toward her. She glanced up from her coffee, squinting at the image. "It's nice. How much?" $4,200. Her eyebrows went up. "Chris, that's a lot for a watch." "I know, but 20 years. I've never asked for anything like this." I thought maybe. "Let's wait until my bonus hits," she interrupted, smiling. "I should find out in March. Then we can talk about it, okay?" March came and went. Her bonus hit. $8,000, which she mentioned casually while paying bills. The watch never came up again. I let it go. She'd been so supportive through my therapy, through the night terrors, through all of it. What was a watch compared to that? I could wait. I should have trusted my gut even then, but I didn't. By spring, things started shifting, in ways I couldn't quite name. Amanda landed a big client, some tech cybersecurity company, that was planning a massive product launch. She started working late more often, sometimes not getting home until 9 or 10 at night. She bought new clothes, got her hair done differently, joined a gym. When I asked about it, she'd say, "I need to look the part, Chris. These tech people, they're all about image." It made sense, or at least I told myself it did. My PTSD therapy ramped up around the same time. I'd been doing okay, but my therapist, Dr. Chen, thought twice weekly sessions would help me process some deeper stuff from deployment. Tuesdays and Thursdays, 2 to 4 p.m. Amanda seemed almost relieved when I told her about the schedule. "That's great, babe," she'd said. "You deserve to heal." The distance between us grew slowly, like ice forming on a lake. Conversations became transactional. "Did you pay the electric? What's for dinner? Can you pick up my dry cleaning?" Our sex life dwindled to once a month, then once every few months. She was always tired. I was always dealing with stuff. We stopped talking about anything that mattered. She mentioned someone named Brandon a few times. My client, she'd call him. The way she said his name always felt a little too casual, but I pushed it aside. I was in therapy, dealing with trust issues from the military, from watching guys I thought were brothers betray each other over stupid shit. Dr. Chen had warned me about projection, about letting PTSD paranoia infect my marriage. So when that little voice in the back of my head whispered something's wrong, I told it to shut up. The first real red flag came in November. I was cleaning out her car. She'd asked me to take it through the wash, and I found a hotel receipt tucked in the side pocket. Pendry Hotel room service, 247. The date was from 2 weeks earlier, a Tuesday night. I confronted her when she got home. "Why'd you need a hotel room 20 minutes from our house?" She barely looked up from her phone. "After party ran late with clients. The company covered it. Easier than driving home exhausted." "But you were home by 11 that night," I said, trying to keep my voice level. "Yeah, I grabbed a quick nap and then left." "Chris, what is this? Are you seriously questioning me about a work thing?" The way she said it, like I was being paranoid, unreasonable, made me back down. "No, never mind, sorry." She kissed my cheek. "It's okay. I know you've been stressed, but you need to trust me, babe." I trusted her. Looking back, I can't believe I missed it. But that's the thing about betrayal. It hides in plain sight, or wearing the mask of normal life until one day you look closely and realize the mask was always there. The bank alert that changed everything came on a Tuesday in mid-December. I was in a session at the VA, helping a young Marine process his transition anxiety when my phone buzzed in my pocket. I ignored it. You don't check your phone when a vet is crying in front of you. But when I walked to my truck an hour later and looked at the screen, my world tilted sideways. Bank of America. Alert $15,000 charge at Tourneau. Joint account. I stared at it for a solid minute. $15,000. Tourneau was a luxury watch retailer. My first thought was fraud. Someone stole our card info. My second thought was Amanda bought something massive without telling me. Neither option felt good. I called her. It rang 4 times before she picked up. "Hey babe, what's up?" She sounded distracted, voices in the background. "Did you buy something expensive today?" "I just got a $15,000 alert from Tourneau." There was a pause. Too long. "Oh, yeah, client gift for Brandon's promotion. I'll expense it back to the firm, don't worry." $15,000 for a client gift from our personal account. "That's a huge gift," I said slowly. "Why not use the company card?" "It was last minute, and I wanted the points," she said quickly. "Chris, I'm in the middle of something. Can we talk about this tonight?" "Sure, yeah, tonight." She hung up. I sat in my truck in the VA parking lot, engine off, staring at the alert. 15 grand. For her, client. The same amount I could have bought 3 of the Tag Heuers I'd wanted. The watch she said we couldn't afford. Something in my gut twisted hard. That night, I couldn't sleep. Amanda came home around 10, cheerful, talking about some meeting that went well. She didn't bring up the watch purchase. Neither did I. I waited until she fell asleep. Then I slipped out to the living room with my phone. I don't know what made me open Instagram. Maybe it was instinct. Maybe it was the Marine training that never fully leaves you, the part that says check your six, always. I pulled up Brandon's profile. Amanda had mentioned him enough that I knew his last name, Mitchell, VP of Sales at some cybersecurity startup. His story from earlier that night was still up. It was a photo of a watch in a gift box. Tag Heuer Carrera. The exact model I'd shown Amanda 2 years earlier. The caption read, "Best boss ever, thanks A." I stared at that image for what felt like an hour but was probably 2 minutes. That heart emoji. Thanks A, my watch, the one she said we couldn't afford. She'd just given it to another man. For his promotion. In the Marines, we had a saying, slow is smooth, smooth is fast. It means you don't rush, you assess, you plan, you execute with precision. That night, sitting alone in my living room at 2 in the morning, I made a decision. I wasn't going to confront her, not yet. Because if this was what I thought it was, and the sick feeling in my stomach said it was, then confronting her would only make her better at hiding it. I needed proof, and I knew how to get it. I opened my laptop and created a folder. I named it Project Overwatch. I screenshotted Brandon's Instagram story. I screenshotted the bank alert. Then I started pulling up our joint account statements, going back 6 months. What I found made me nauseous. $6,800 at high-end restaurants in La Jolla, $4,200 at the Pendry Hotel, multiple charges, different dates, $3,500 at Neiman Marcus, $2,900 at a spa in Del Mar, all on Tuesdays and Thursdays, all between 2 and 6 p.m. The same days and times I was in therapy. I added it up 3 times, certain I was making a mistake. But the numbers didn't lie. $47,000 in 6 months, not counting the watch. I sat back feeling like I'd taken a round to the chest. She'd been using my PTSD appointments, the time I spent processing trauma she'd witnessed, the nightmares she'd held me through, as her window to fuck someone else. With our money. The betrayal was so complete, so perfectly calculated, that for a moment I couldn't breathe. Then the Marine in me took over. Emotions off, mission planning on. I pulled out a notebook and started writing. If I was going to do this, I was going to do it right. No half measures, no confrontations that led to denials and stonewalling. I needed evidence so airtight that there'd be no room for her to lie, no space for him to hide, no way for either of them to walk away unscathed. Over the next week, I moved carefully. I installed a GPS tracker on her car, legal in California since I co-owned the vehicle. I set up an email forwarding rule on our shared family email account. I quietly opened a solo bank account and started documenting every charge. I told no one, not my mom, not my Marine buddies, not Dr. Chen. I became a ghost in my own marriage, smiling at breakfast, asking about her day while every conversation was just another data point in my spreadsheet. New Year's Eve rolled around. We went to a party at one of her colleagues' houses. At midnight, she kissed me. Tasted like champagne and lies. "This year will be better," she said, smiling. "I promise." I smiled back. "I hope so." What I didn't say. "This year you're going to learn what it costs to betray a Marine." I gave myself 4 months to build my case. I had no idea she was about to make it even easier than I thought. The phone call that confirmed everything happened on April 18th. I remember the date because it was a Thursday, and I'd taken the day off to handle some paperwork at home. Amanda said she had a site visit for an upcoming event. She left at noon, kissing my cheek on the way out the door. An hour later, her phone rang from the bedroom. She'd left it charging on her nightstand, which she almost never did. I walked in, glanced at the screen. Brandon, with a heart emoji, calling her. My hand moved before my brain caught up. I answered, "Hello." There was a pause on the other end. Then a male voice, confused. Is Amanda there?" "This is her husband," I said, keeping my voice even. "Who's this?" The line went dead immediately. I stood there holding her phone, staring at the ended call screen. Brandon with a heart emoji. Not Brandon client, not Brandon work, just Brandon. I took a screenshot and sent it to my personal phone. Then I set her phone back exactly where I'd found it. That afternoon, my email forwarding rule caught something. Amanda had sent a message from her personal Gmail to Brandon. The subject line was, "Last night, I opened it. Can't stop thinking about you. Tuesday can't come fast enough. Love you." There was an attachment. I downloaded it. It was a photo of him, hotel robes, champagne glasses, his arm around her, her head on his shoulder, both of them smiling like they'd just won something. I closed my laptop very carefully, like it might explode if I moved too fast. Then I walked outside to my truck, sat in the driver's seat, and let myself feel it for 5 minutes. Rage. Pure white-hot rage. The kind that makes your hands shake and your vision narrow. The kind that, in combat, you channel into action. But I wasn't in combat. I was in my driveway, and the enemy was my wife. I pulled out my phone and called Marcus. Marcus Webb. We'd served together in Iraq, saved each other's asses more times than I could count. He'd gotten out a few years before me. Went to law school, now practiced family law in San Diego. "Chris," he answered on the second ring. "What's up, brother?" "I need a lawyer," I said. My voice sounded strange, too calm. "My wife is cheating. I have proof. I need to know what I can do." "Shit! Okay, meet me at my office in an hour. Don't confront her. Don't do anything yet. You hear me?" "I hear you." "Chris," he said, voice dropping. "Are you okay?" I looked at the house where my wife would return in a few hours. Probably smelling like him. Probably with some bullshit story about her day. "No," I said, "but I will be." That evening, Amanda came home around 7. She was cheerful, humming some song I didn't recognize. She kissed me hello and asked what I wanted for dinner. I swallowed everything I wanted to say and answered, "Whatever you want, babe." She smiled and started pulling ingredients from the fridge. I excused myself to the garage and checked the GPS tracker. Her car had been parked at the Pendry Hotel for 4 hours that afternoon. That night I lay next to her in bed, listening to her breathe, and I felt absolutely nothing. No love, no hate, just cold, tactical clarity. She wasn't my wife anymore. She was a target, and I knew exactly how to take her down. The next morning I went to Marcus's office. He laid it all out for me. California's no-fault divorce laws, what evidence would matter, what wouldn't. Then, he said something that changed everything. "If you can prove financial misconduct using marital funds for an affair, that matters. Judges don't like that, and if she's done it to the tune of tens of thousands, Chris, you could get a forensic accountant involved. That's criminal territory." "How long do I wait?" I asked. "As long as you need to build an airtight case. 3 months, 4 months, whatever. You document everything, every charge, every lie, every hotel visit. Then when you're ready, we strike fast and we strike everywhere. Financial, social, professional. You make the cost of betraying you so high that she'll remember it for the rest of her life." I thought about the $63,000, about the watch, about her head on his shoulder in that photo. "Let's do it," I said. "All of it." Marcus leaned back in his chair. "Chris, I need to ask, are you sure? This kind of revenge, it's nuclear. It'll destroy her. Maybe him too. You ready for that?" I thought about the question. Was I ready to be that person? The person who meticulously ruins lives? Then I thought about Tuesday and Thursday afternoons. About her kissing me goodnight while his cologne was still on her skin. About, "We can't afford it," while she spent 15 grand on his wrist. "Yeah," I said, "I'm ready." What I didn't know then was how much that decision would cost me too. But I'm getting ahead of myself again. The next 4 months were the strangest of my life. I was living a double existence, the trusting husband by day, the calculating investigator by night. Every morning, I'd wake up next to Amanda, kiss her goodbye, tell her I loved her. Every evening I'd come home, ask about her day, pretend I believed the lies. And every night after she fell asleep, I'd sit in my home office and build her destruction piece by piece. Marcus helped me structure the approach. Phase 1 was financial documentation. I pulled every bank statement, credit card charge, Venmo transaction, going back 8 months. I created a master spreadsheet with columns for date, amount, location, description, and purpose. Then I cross-referenced each charge against Amanda's calendar, my therapy schedule, and Brandon's LinkedIn updates about business travel. The patterns were devastating. Every Tuesday and Thursday without fail. Hotels, restaurants, spas, shopping. While I was sitting in Dr. Chen's office, talking about combat trauma, Amanda was in a hotel room, spending our retirement savings on her affair. The total came to $63,000. I'd run the numbers 3 times before I believed it. Phase 2 was digital evidence. This part felt dirty, invasive, but then I'd remember that photo of them together and keep going. I recovered deleted text messages from her iCloud backup. She thought she'd erased them, but Apple keeps everything. I found months of conversations. Can't wait to see you Tuesday. Wear the blue dress. Last night was incredible. You make me feel alive. Chris is at therapy until 4. We have time. Reading them felt like taking friendly fire. Every message was another round hitting center mass. But I kept reading. Kept screenshotting, kept building the file. Phase 3 was witness statements. Amanda's assistant, Jenna, had always seemed uncomfortable around me. One afternoon in May, I ran into her at a coffee shop. We made small talk. Then carefully I said, "Jenna, I know something's going on with Amanda. If you know anything, I need you to tell me." She looked terrified, then quietly, "I've been covering for her meetings with Brandon. She told me it was for work, but I don't think it is. I'm sorry." "How long?" "Since last summer. Almost a year." "A year. Not 6 months. A full fucking year." Jenna gave me copies of emails where Amanda had instructed her to lie about her schedule. "If Chris calls, tell him I'm at a site visit." She'd weaponized her own assistant to cover her tracks. Phase 4 was the corporate angle. Marcus did some digging and found that Brandon's company, CyberShield Security, had strict ethics policies. No romantic relationships between executives and vendors or contractors. Amanda's firm was a vendor. Brandon was VP of sales. If their relationship had influenced any business decisions, that was a fireable offense. We drafted an anonymous ethics complaint, detailing the affair and the business relationship. We held it, ready to file when the moment was right. Phase 5 was the freeze. In late July, I quietly opened 3 solo bank accounts. I transferred exactly half of our joint savings, my legal right during a marriage. I removed Amanda as the beneficiary on my life insurance and VA benefits. I froze our joint credit cards with a single phone call to the bank citing security concerns. All legal, all reversible if I wanted, all devastating if I executed. I didn't tell her any of it. I was waiting for the perfect moment. That moment revealed itself in early August. Amanda came home excited about something, barely able to sit still during dinner. "I got the waterfront gala," she said, grinning. "September 15th. It's the biggest event of the year, Chris. Tech industry leaders, 300 guests, $2 million budget. This could make my career." "That's amazing," I said, hugging her. "I'm proud of you." "Brandon's company is the title sponsor," she continued, not noticing how my body went rigid. "He'll be there as a VIP guest. It's going to be perfect." Perfect! She actually used that word. That night I sat in my office and stared at my calendar. September 15th, a Friday, 8 weeks away. I called Marcus. "I know when we strike," I said. "When?" "Her biggest professional moment." in front of 300 people, while he's watching. There was a long pause. Then, Jesus, Chris, that's brutal. She earned it. And so I had my target date. 8 weeks to finalize everything. 8 weeks of pretending. 8 weeks of watching her plan the event that would become her nightmare. I won't lie. Living that double life took a toll. I lost 15 pounds. My insomnia got worse. My PTSD symptoms flared up. Dr. Chen noticed. "Christopher, you seem more stressed lately," she said during a session in August. "What's going on?" I wanted to tell her, but I couldn't risk it getting back to Amanda somehow. "Just work stuff," I said. "I'll be okay." But I wasn't okay. I was becoming someone I didn't recognize. Cold, calculating, capable of watching my wife brush her teeth, kiss my cheek, tell me she loved me, knowing I was about to burn her entire life to the ground. One night in late August, I almost called it off. Amanda and I were watching TV, some comedy she liked. She laughed at something, reached over and took my hand. For a moment, she was just the woman I'd married. Not the cheater, not the liar, just Amanda. Then my phone buzzed with a bank alert. $4,200 charge at the Pendry Hotel, on a Thursday. While I'd been in therapy 2 hours earlier, I let go of her hand. "Everything okay?" she asked. "Yeah," I said. "Everything's fine." The countdown continued. September 15th got closer. My evidence binders got thicker. The coldness inside me grew more absolute. In the Marines, we had a saying, "Slow is smooth, smooth is fast." I'd spent 4 months being slow, being smooth. Now it was time to be fast. I had 30 days until the waterfront gala. Amanda had no idea her perfect night was about to become her reckoning. The final 2 weeks before the gala felt like pre-deployment. That specific tension of knowing you're about to go into combat. Everything's planned, but you don't know if you'll come out the same person. Marcus and I met every few days to finalize details. The forensic accounting motion was ready to file. The ethics complaint to CyberShield's board was drafted. The evidence packets were printed and organized. 3 binders, color-coded, indexed. Financial misconduct in red, digital evidence in blue, timeline documentation in green. We prepared packets for 5 recipients. Amanda's parents, Brandon's CEO, a local reporter Marcus knew from law school, the judge who'd handle our divorce, and Amanda herself. "You're sure about the public element?" Marcus asked me on September 1st, 2 weeks out. "Once you serve her at that event, there's no taking it back. Everyone will know." "Good," I said. "She humiliated me privately for a year. She can face consequences publicly." "Chris, brother, I need to ask one more time. Are you doing this for justice or revenge?" I thought about that. "Both. Is that wrong?" "No," he said quietly. "Just be ready for it to cost you something, too." I didn't fully understand what he meant then. I would soon. September 13th, 2 days before the gala, I filed the forensic accounting motion with the San Diego County Superior Court. It became public record immediately. I sent the anonymous ethics complaint to CyberShield's board of directors via encrypted email, and I executed the freeze. Every joint account, every credit card, locked with a single authentication code. Only I had. Amanda didn't know yet. She'd find out soon enough. September 14th, the day before, Amanda was a hurricane of stress and excitement. She left the house at 6 a.m., barely stopped moving all day. Around 4 p.m., she tried to buy flowers for the event with our joint card. Declined. She called me, panicked. "Chris, something's wrong with our cards. They're all getting declined." I was in my truck, driving to Marcus's office for final prep. "Probably a fraud alert," I said calmly. "I'll call the bank." "Don't worry about it tonight. Use your company card." "I can't. I already hit the limit on setup costs." "Chris, I need those cards working." "I'll handle it," I said. "Focus on your event. It's going to be great." I hung up before she could respond. That night I barely slept. I kept thinking about everything that was about to happen. The process server I'd hired, a former Marine named Rodriguez, would arrive at the venue at 7:30 p.m., right after cocktail hour started. He'd serve Amanda with divorce papers and the evidence folder while she was backstage preparing for her welcome speech. Marcus would be in the crowd, recording everything on his phone. I'd be there too, as a guest. Marcus had gotten me an invite through a VA client who worked in tech. The plan was set. All I had to do was execute. September 15th dawned clear and perfect. 72 degrees, no clouds. Beautiful day for a reckoning. Amanda left early, practically vibrating with nervous energy. She kissed me goodbye at the door. "Wish me luck," she said. "You don't need luck," I told her. "You've got this." She smiled, squeezed my hand, and left. I waited until her car was gone. Then I put on the suit I'd bought specifically for tonight. Navy blue, perfectly tailored. The kind of suit a man wears when he's about to win a war. I looked at myself in the mirror. The guy staring back looked calm, composed. Nothing like the mess I'd been 4 months ago. "Slow is smooth, smooth is fast," I said to my reflection. I drove to the waterfront venue at 6 p.m. The event was already in setup mode. Valets parking cars, caterers rushing around. Amanda somewhere inside directing it all. I parked a block away, checked my phone. Rodriguez texted, "In position, ready when you are." I texted back, 7:30 p.m. on the dot. Then I walked into the venue like I belonged there. Because tonight I did. The waterfront gala space was impressive. Floor-to-ceiling windows overlooking San Diego Bay. Crystal chandeliers, tables set for 300 guests. Tech executives and their spouses mingled during cocktail hour, champagne flowing. Everyone dressed like money. I blended in easily enough, nursing a whiskey and making small talk with a few VA colleagues who'd been invited. At 7:15 p.m., I spotted Amanda across the room. She was in her element, radiant in a black dress, directing staff with a headset, smiling at guests. She looked happy, successful, like she'd earned this moment through hard work and talent. She had no idea what was coming. Brandon Mitchell was easy to spot too. Tall, silver hair, expensive suit, holding court near the VIP section with other executives. He and Amanda made eye contact once during cocktail hour. A brief smile passing between them, subtle, practiced. The kind of look two people share when they're fucking behind their spouse's back. At 7:28 p.m., I saw Rodriguez enter through a side door. Ex-Marine, built like a tank, carrying a leather portfolio. He moved through the crowd purposefully, no hesitation. My heart was pounding so hard I could feel it in my throat. Rodriguez approached Amanda near the stage entrance. I was close enough to hear. "Amanda Hayes." She turned, confused. "Yes? I'm about to go on stage. Can this—" "You've been served." He handed her a thick manila envelope and the leather portfolio. "Divorce petition and supporting documentation. You have 30 days to respond." The color drained from her face. "What? No, there's been a mistake." "No mistake, ma'am. You have a good evening." He walked away. Amanda stood there, frozen, holding the envelope like it might bite her. Then, hands shaking, she opened the portfolio. I watched her face as she saw the contents. The first page was the watch. Brandon's Instagram story, the tag Hoyer Carrera. "Best boss ever, thanks, A." Her eyes went wide. She flipped to the next page. Hotel receipts, dozens of them, all dated, all highlighted. Next page, bank statements, $63,000 in charges, all circled in red. Next page, screenshots of text messages. "Can't wait to see you Tuesday. Wear the blue dress." Her hands were shaking so badly, the pages rustled. Someone from the event staff approached her. "Amanda, you're on in 2 minutes." "I can't," she whispered. "I can't do this." "What?" "Amanda, everyone's waiting." That's when her microphone, still clipped to her dress and turned on for sound check, broadcast her next words to the entire venue. Oh my God, he knows. Chris knows everything. The room went silent. 300 people, all turning to look. Amanda's eyes found mine across the crowd. The recognition hit her like a physical blow. She started toward me, papers still clutched in her hands, mascara already running. I met her halfway, in a service corridor away from the main crowd. Marcus was behind me, phone recording everything. "Chris, please," she said, voice breaking. "Please not here, not like this." "Where then?" I asked, voice level. "In our bed, while you're texting him. During one of my therapy appointments." "I can explain." $63,000, I said. 8 months, every Tuesday and Thursday while I was in PTSD therapy. "You used the worst moments of my life as your fucking window to cheat." She was sobbing now. "It wasn't like that." "The watch, Amanda. You gave him my watch. The one you said we couldn't afford. You spent 15 grand on him and told me we couldn't spare 4,000 for me." "Chris, I'm sorry. I'm so sorry." "You're sorry you got caught. There's a difference." Behind us, I could hear commotion from the main room. Someone said Brandon's name. I glanced back. He was being escorted out by 2 people in suits, his face bright red. The ethics complaint had landed. His CEO had received it an hour ago. Amanda followed my gaze, saw Brandon leaving. "What did you do?" "I documented everything," I said. "Every charge, every lie, every policy violation. You two thought you were so careful, but you forgot I spent 20 years in the Marines. We're very good at reconnaissance. My parents got a copy with photos. My job. Your company's getting a copy, too. Something about using company resources for personal affairs. I'm sure they'll want to investigate." She collapsed against the wall, sliding down to the floor. "You destroyed me. In front of everyone. How could you?" I crouched down to her level. "You want to know the exact moment I decided to do this? It was when I realized you were using my trauma, my fucking PTSD that you watched destroy me, as your cover. That was when I stopped being your husband and started being your reckoning." I stood up, looked down at her. "You're going to need a lawyer, a good one, because I've got 4 months of evidence and a forensic accountant on retainer. I'll see you in court." I walked away, didn't look back. In the main room, the gala was falling apart. Half the guests were leaving, the other half gossiping. Event staff looked panicked. I found Marcus near the exit. "Let's go," I said. We left. Drove back to his office in silence. Once there, I sat in his conference room and felt absolutely nothing. No joy, no satisfaction, just emptiness. "You okay?" Marcus asked. "I don't know," I said. "I thought I'd feel better. I thought I'd feel something." "Give it time," he said. "You just dropped a nuke. You're still in the blast radius." I went home to an empty house, sat in the dark living room. My phone buzzed continuously. Amanda calling, texting, begging. I turned it off. I'd won. I'd executed the plan perfectly. Amanda's life was in ruins. Brandon's career was toast. Everyone knew what they'd done. So why did I feel like I'd lost something too? The fallout from that night spread faster than I expected. By the next morning, Amanda's social media was flooded with comments. Screenshots from the evidence packets had leaked. I'm still not sure how. Maybe someone at the gala took photos. And suddenly our private disaster was semi-public. Amanda deleted all her accounts by noon. She texted me once from a number I didn't recognize. "I'm at a hotel. I have nowhere to go. My cards aren't working." I didn't respond. Marcus called me Sunday afternoon, the day after the gala. "Chris, you need to hear this. Brandon Mitchell resigned from CyberShield this morning. The board found evidence of financial impropriety. He'd been approving contracts to Amanda's firm while they were sleeping together. That's a conflict of interest and potential kickback territory. He's out, and they're considering legal action. Good, I said. Amanda's parents called me too. They wanted your number. I didn't give it to them. What did they say? They're devastated. They had no idea. Her mom was crying. Marcus paused. Chris, they're cutting her off. Financially, emotionally, all of it. They called her behavior unforgivable disgrace. I thought about Amanda's parents, David and Elaine, traditional people who'd built their wealth through hard work and conservative values. To them, this would be the ultimate betrayal of everything they'd taught her. Okay, I said. I didn't know what else to say. The first week was a blur. Amanda's employer, Morrison and Associates, put her on immediate suspension pending investigation. Jenna's emails had been forwarded to HR, showing Amanda had used company resources, company time, and company events to facilitate her affair with a major client. On Tuesday, they fired her for conduct detrimental to company reputation and violation of ethics policies. The tech industry in San Diego is small. Word spread fast. By Wednesday, Amanda's name was circulating as that event planner who had an affair with a client and got fired. Professional blacklisting in real time. Brandon's situation was worse. His resignation from CyberShield came with no severance, no stock options, nothing. His wife filed for divorce within a week, citing the evidence I'd provided. She'd been one of the anonymous recipients of the packets. She got everything in the separation agreement because he'd been caught in flagrant infidelity with documented proof. I should have felt vindicated. I should have felt like justice was served. Instead, I felt hollow. 3 weeks after the gala, I got a call from Sarah, Amanda's best friend since college. She was furious. "Chris, what the fuck did you do?" "I exposed the truth," I said calmly. "She's in the hospital, Chris. Psychiatric hold. She had a panic attack so severe they had to sedate her. She tried to hurt herself. Are you happy now?" That stopped me cold. "What? She tried to hurt herself?" Sarah repeated, voice shaking. "She's been having panic attacks, hasn't eaten in days, can't sleep. Her therapist called 911 when she said she didn't want to be alive anymore. So congratulations, you destroyed her. Publicly, spectacularly. You got your revenge. I hope it was worth it." She hung up. I sat on my couch for an hour, staring at nothing. Amanda had tried to hurt herself. Because of what I did. Because of the public humiliation. Because of the absolute destruction of her life. I called Dr. Chen, my therapist, even though it was after hours. She called me back. "Christopher, what's wrong?" I told her everything. The affair, the evidence, the revenge, the gala, the fallout. Amanda in the hospital. "Do you regret it?" Dr. Chen asked. "I don't know," I said. "She betrayed me. She used my trauma as her cover. She spent our money on him. She gave him the watch I wanted. She deserved consequences." "Deserving consequences and crushing someone are different things," Dr. Chen said gently. "What you did was extensive, calculated. You didn't just expose her. You orchestrated her destruction across every domain of her life. That was the point." "I know, but now you have to live with what that makes you. The question is, can you?" I didn't have an answer. Over the next few weeks, the divorce proceedings moved forward. Amanda didn't contest anything. She had no money for a lawyer, no leverage, no fight left. The forensic accountant's report proved the $63,000 in marital funds had been misappropriated. The judge ordered her to repay half $3,105 and awarded me 60% of our remaining assets. I got everything I'd wanted from a legal standpoint, but the victory felt like ashes. 2 months after the gala, I was sitting in Dr. Chen's office for our weekly session. She asked me a question I'd been avoiding. "Christopher, you've told me about the betrayal, the evidence, the revenge, but you haven't told me how you feel about who you became in order to do it." I looked at my hands. I became someone cold, someone who could smile at his wife for 4 months while planning her destruction, someone who could weaponize the legal system, social media, corporate ethics policies. Someone who could watch her cry and feel nothing. Does that frighten you? Yeah, I admitted. It does. Because I didn't think I could be that person. I thought the Marines taught me how to be a warrior, I trailed off. Not a what? Not someone who takes satisfaction in destroying another human being. Dr. Chen was quiet for a moment. Do you take satisfaction in it? No, I said. That's what scares me. I don't feel satisfaction. I don't feel anything. I'm numb. That's not uncommon after revenge, she said. You spent months building up to a climactic moment, and then it happened, and now you're in the aftermath. The question is, what do you do now? I didn't know. I'd spent so much energy on making Amanda pay that I hadn't thought about what came after. Dr. Chen assigned me homework. Write down what I wanted my life to look like in 5 years. Not what I wanted Amanda's life to look like. Mine. It took me 3 weeks to write anything down, but slowly, I started to see something. A version of myself that wasn't defined by betrayal or revenge. A version that took the tactical skills I'd learned and used them for something other than destruction. That's when things started to shift. 3 months after the divorce was finalized, I walked into a veteran support group meeting I'd heard about through the VA. It was specifically for military members who'd experienced betrayal, infidelity, financial abuse, abandonment during deployment, all of it. I sat in a circle with 11 other veterans, mostly men, a few women. The facilitator asked if anyone wanted to share. I raised my hand. My name is Christopher, former Marine, 20 years. My wife cheated on me while I was in PTSD therapy. She spent 63 grand of our money on the affair. I found out, documented everything for 4 months, then destroyed her life at her biggest professional moment. I paused. I won the divorce, got everything I wanted legally, and I still don't know if I did the right thing. A guy across from me, Army Sergeant named Mike, said, "Did she face consequences?" "Yeah," I said. "Lost her job, her family cut her off, her reputation's gone." "Then you did what you had to do," Mike said. "My ex cleaned out our account while I was in Afghanistan. Came home to nothing. I wish I'd had your resources to fight back." Others nodded, shared similar stories. One woman, former Navy, said her husband had given their house to his mistress while she was deployed. Another guy said his wife left him when he came home with PTSD, told everyone he was dangerous to keep custody of their kids. As I listened, something shifted. I realized my story wasn't unique. Betrayal in the military community was common, and most of these people had no idea how to protect themselves financially or legally. After the meeting, 3 people approached me, asking for advice. "How did you document everything? What lawyer did you use? Can you help me figure out my situation?" That's when it clicked. I could turn the worst experience of my life into something that helped others. I started small. I put together a 1-page guide. Financial protection during marital crisis for military families. I brought copies to the next support group meeting. People took them, thanked me, said it was the first practical advice they'd gotten. Then I expanded. I created a workshop. After betrayal, a tactical guide for military families. Legal basics, financial documentation, evidence gathering, emotional survival. I taught it for free at VA centers, military family support groups, wherever they'd let me. The feedback was overwhelming. One Marine wife told me I'd saved her from financial ruin. She'd used my documentation guide to prove her husband was hiding assets. A veteran told me the workshop gave him hope that he could rebuild after his wife left him. 6 months after the divorce, the VA asked if I'd develop a formal curriculum. They gave me a small grant to expand the program regionally. I called it Overwatch, the same name as the folder I'd created when investigating Amanda. But this time, it wasn't about revenge, it was about protection. I started speaking at military family conferences. A reporter from Marine Corps Times interviewed me about the program. The story went semi-viral in military communities. Suddenly, I was getting emails from veterans across the country asking for help, sharing their stories, thanking me for giving them a roadmap. The work was painful. Every story I heard reminded me of my own betrayal. Every workshop I taught meant revisiting those 4 months of investigation. But it felt meaningful, in a way nothing had in years. Around month 8 of my new life, I did something I'd been avoiding. I went back to Tourneau, the luxury watch store where Amanda had bought Brandon's Tag Heuer. I walked in, found the same model. Tag Heuer Carrera, stainless steel, automatic movement, $4,200. The salesman approached. "Beautiful choice, sir. Special occasion." "Yeah," I said. "Overdue gift to myself." I bought it. Not as a symbol of revenge. Not because I wanted what Amanda had denied me, but because I deserved it. 20 years of service, 2 years of healing, and the courage to rebuild after betrayal. I'd earned it. I wore it to my next workshop. A participant noticed. "Nice watch." "Thanks," I said. I finally bought myself the gift I'd been waiting for someone else to give me. She smiled. "That's the whole point, isn't it? Not waiting for validation from people who don't deserve to give it." Yeah, that was the whole point. By month 9, I'd reconnected with old Marine buddies I'd lost touch with during the marriage. We'd get together, have beers, talk about life. They noticed I was different, lighter, more present. "You seem better," Marcus said one night over whiskey. "More like the Chris I knew before." "I think I am," I said. It took me a while to figure out that revenge wasn't the win. Rebuilding was. You regret what you did. I thought about that. Some of it. The public humiliation at the gala, that was excessive. I could have exposed her privately and still gotten the same legal outcome, but I was angry and I wanted her to hurt the way I hurt. Did it work? She hurt, yeah, but so did I. That's the thing about revenge. It's not clean. You think it'll make you whole, but it just makes you different. Marcus nodded. "For what it's worth, I think you're doing good now. The Overwatch program. That's real. That's helping people." "It helps me too," I admitted. "Every time I teach it, I process a little more of my own shit." A year after the divorce, I was leading a workshop when someone asked a question I'd been dreading. "How did you stop hating her?" I paused. Honestly, I'm not sure I have completely. But I decided that hating her was giving her real estate in my head that she didn't deserve. She's not part of my life anymore. She's just a person I used to know who made really shitty choices. "Do you think she's changed?" "I don't know. I don't talk to her. But I hope she has, for her own sake." That was true. Somewhere along the way, my desire for Amanda to suffer had faded into something closer to indifference. I didn't wish her well exactly, but I didn't wish her harm either. She was just gone from my life. 10 months after the gala, I went on a few dates. Nothing serious. A woman I met through the VA, a school teacher who volunteered with veteran programs. We had dinner twice, talked on the phone. She was kind, easy to be with, but I wasn't ready. Not for anything serious. Maybe I wouldn't be for a while. And that was okay. Dr. Chen and I talked about it in therapy. "I think I need to be comfortable being alone before I can be good for someone else," I told her. "That's wisdom," she said. "A lot of people never learn that lesson." I learned it the hard way. Most wisdom is learned the hard way. One afternoon, almost a year to the day after everything imploded, I was sitting on the beach with Ghost, my dog, watching the sunset, waves crashing. My phone buzzed. LinkedIn notification. It was a message from Amanda. My finger hovered over the delete button, but curiosity won. "Chris, I'm in therapy now, learning about narcissism and what I did to you. I don't expect forgiveness. I just wanted you to know I'm sorry and I understand now. You deserved better." I stared at it for a long time. Part of me wanted to respond with something cutting. Another part wanted to block her and pretend I'd never seen it, but mostly I felt nothing. Just acknowledgement that she'd sent it. I didn't respond, but I didn't delete it either. I just closed the app and went back to watching the ocean. Ghost nudged my hand with his nose. I scratched behind his ears. "You know what, buddy?" I said. "I think I'm going to be okay." And I meant it. It's been 14 months now since that December day when I saw the $15,000 charge. 14 months since my world collapsed and I had to rebuild it from scratch. Here's where everyone landed. Amanda's in Phoenix working as an administrative assistant at a small marketing firm. From what I've heard through mutual acquaintances, she's in intensive therapy, diagnosed with narcissistic personality disorder traits. She's been rebuilding her relationship with her parents, and slowly. No social media presence, no dating. She's essentially starting her life over at 36. Brandon took a position at a much smaller tech company, about 40% of his previous salary. His divorce cost him most of his assets. His kids, teenagers, saw all the evidence during the divorce proceedings. They're in therapy, trying to process it. His reputation in the San Diego tech scene never recovered. I heard he's thinking about moving to Austin to start fresh. And me? I'm sitting here in my condo, watching the sun set over the bay, wearing a Tag Heuer Carrera that I bought for myself. My Overwatch program now has 300 active participants across 5 military installations. I was just featured in a Military Spouse magazine article about turning betrayal into service. I've got a book deal in the works, a tactical guide for military families facing infidelity. I'm single. I'm healing. My PTSD is managed better now than it's been in years. I have friends, purpose, community. I'm not the man I was before Amanda's betrayal, but I'm not the man I became during the revenge either. I'm somewhere in between. Scarred but standing, wiser but sadder, free but cautious. People ask me if I regret how I handled it. The honest answer is, some days yes. The public humiliation at the gala was probably too far. I could have achieved the same legal outcome without nuking her career and social life so spectacularly. But I was operating from a place of pure hurt and rage, and I wanted her to feel a fraction of what I felt. Did she? I think so. Did it make me feel better? Not really. What made me feel better was the work, helping other veterans avoid the same mistakes, giving them tools to protect themselves, showing them that betrayal doesn't have to mean destruction. That's where I found peace. Not in revenge, but in service. Would I do it differently if I could go back? Maybe. I'd probably skip the public server at the gala. I'd probably aim for quiet, efficient legal victory instead of thermonuclear public fallout. But I'd still fight back. I'd still demand consequences. I'd still refuse to be a victim. The watch on my wrist catches the light as I stand up, call Ghost, head back inside. It reminds me every day. I'm not the man she broke. I'm the man I rebuilt. And that man doesn't need revenge. He just needs boundaries, truth, and the courage to walk away when they're crossed. In the Marines, we had a saying, adapt and overcome. I adapted to betrayal by becoming someone I didn't recognize. Then I overcame it by finding my way back to someone I could respect. The journey isn't over. I still have days where I'm angry. Days where I replay everything and wonder if I could have saved the marriage if I'd just paid more attention earlier. Days where I feel guilty about how completely I destroyed her life. But most days I wake up, take Ghost for a run, go to work helping veterans, teach my workshops, live my life. I'm building something good from the wreckage. Not a perfect life, but an honest one, and that's enough. A few months ago, someone in a workshop asked me what the most important lesson was that I learned from everything. I thought about it for a while. Then I said, the most important lesson is that you can survive almost anything if you're willing to do the work. Betrayal breaks you. Revenge doesn't fix you. Only rebuilding fixes you. And rebuilding is harder than revenge, slower than revenge, and less satisfying than revenge. But it's the only thing that actually works. They nodded. A woman in the back raised her hand. So was the revenge worth it? For me, I don't know. I got justice. I protected myself financially. I made sure she faced consequences for what she did. But I also lost parts of myself in the process that I'm still trying to get back. Would you tell someone else not to do it? No, I said. I'd tell them to make sure they understand the full cost before they commit. Because revenge is expensive. It costs you time, energy, sleep, peace of mind. It costs you pieces of your humanity. And you don't get those back when it's over. What do you get? I looked down at my watch. Closure, boundaries, proof that you're not someone who can be walked on without consequences. And if you're lucky, if you do the work after, you get yourself back. Changed, but back. That's where I am now. Changed, but back. The Marine who kept receipts became the Marine who helps others keep their dignity. The man who planned a tactical revenge became the man who teaches tactical healing. I've learned that the opposite of betrayal isn't revenge. It's boundaries. It's self-respect. It's the courage to walk away from people who hurt you and build something better without them. Amanda gave me the worst betrayal I've ever experienced. But she also gave me something unexpected. Clarity about who I am and what I will and won't accept. She showed me I'm capable of surviving catastrophic loss. She taught me that I'm stronger than I thought, even if I'm not proud of all the ways I proved it. And maybe, in some twisted way, I should thank her for that. But I won't, because I earned this strength, not her. I built this new life from the rubble she left behind. She destroyed what we had. I destroyed what she'd built. We're even now in the ugliest way possible. And I'm finally okay with that. The sun's fully set now. I close my laptop, where I've been writing this all down. Partly for therapy, partly for the book, partly just to get it out of my head. Ghost is asleep on the couch. Tomorrow I've got a workshop at Miramar. 12 Marines and their spouses who are dealing with infidelity, separation, betrayal. I'll show them the spreadsheets, the legal forms, the documentation process. I'll tell them about boundaries and self-protection and rebuilding. I'll probably tell them my story too, the parts that matter. And, maybe, in some small way, the worst thing that ever happened to me will become the thing that helps them survive the worst thing that ever happened to them. In the Marines, we never leave a man behind. I didn't leave myself behind either, even when I became someone I didn't recognize. I went back for him. I pulled him out of the darkness, and now we're both moving forward. Semper Fi.